Jerry, I was just talking with Dr. King we were talking about the concept of educational reform, and I'm wondering what is the role of the media in educational reform?
Well, I think that we've been sucked into more or less the capitalist view of what the nature the media is supposed to do. And basically it's an exchange of goods and services, and those who can't afford to use the media in that way are the benefactors of it. But it's not necessarily where we started from. We started with the media being as a tool for national development and education.
Right.
That's where I remember it.
Okay.
But of course we follow fashion, monkey see, monkey do from the United States. Most of it, of course, is the negative side of what happens in America.
Yes.
So some of our local artists do not get the necessary time that is needed for them to expose some of their creative work, and people say, well, you know, we don't need any sort of quotas to allow, you know, local artists. So now the playing field is, and even as it is okay. And that's not right. I mean, the government of St. Lucia has deluded itself. I mean, not necessarily this government, but both sides of the government fence have deluded themselves into believing that, you know, the more media houses that enters the playground, you know, the better it is.
Right.
But we have not seen a diversity of views, which normally would happen when you have increased media outlets.
Right.
We have seen basically most of the media outlets, again, I'm using the word conform, are straight and narrow, which is basically music. We have no time for many educational types of programs, informational types of programs, and that is to us a downfall. We do not have the amount of music to sustain that, so we have to look outside. And most times it's from Jamaica. A lot of people are screaming and shouting, the dance hall particularly, and the negative type of dance hall songs which denigrate women who you know, provide some sort of negative images to our young people are not necessarily what we need at this particular point in time. But there is great opportunity exists in this midst of chaos. And I think that Stephen and his group, Rise, are doing well because they do have an after-school journalism program.
Wonderful.
And they also do have just recently the maybe I should let him talk about it. But the film contest, or and that was something that I think, you know, was a nice springboard for the creative talents of our young people. And personally, I've registered, and although it hasn't been actualized, a Center for Community Media, where now we do not leave media only in the hands of people, let's say the people who can afford media, but I believe that everybody can have the opportunity to use media to the benefit of, you know, to let others know their voice, to hear their voice. And also the tools of media is something that anybody can learn. And once we can learn that, then we can have the diversity. For a small place like St. Lucia, we have 20 radio stations, we have about 12 local input television stations, a number of within the last 6 months, for example, we had 6 magazines launched.
Wow.
You know, so it says that something is happening.
That's right.
And of course, if we apply the capitalist type of agenda, then certainly some of them will be killed off. Right. Survival of the fittest, not necessarily the better ones.
Exactly.
So there is the opportunity for a more diverse media, where voices different from what is the prevailing voice to be heard.
And you know, it's wonderful, as we were saying, we are in a time where so many voices can be heard in so many different ways. And so we don't have to go through the channels that we grew up.
Exactly right.
Because you know, talk about the Rise Film Festival, which is really the brainchild of one of our members, Colin Weeks, and he's a media person himself. And you know, using digital media, your cell phone, telling a kid you can use your cell phone, you can do a little video. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, making a point. You can do a little TED talk for yourself, you can film yourself doing and upload that. And you can make a difference. Just with that, you can, you know, and I agree with you. Now is the time. And I mean, it's really exciting. But it's exciting and frightening because, you know, Jerry talks about the media and I say, well, yeah, you know, and when you think about it, there are these guys with all this power, and to me, the head is just not on. In fact, back to Martin Luther King, who I love, because what an enlightened individual.
And Dr. King speaks on Dr. King.
And he grew, well, yeah, but his name is not really the issue. What I love though was he said, for you to be really effective and progressive in life, you have to have a synthesis between the spiritual and the knowledge.
Yes.
He actually said, you like to talk about science at that point in time. He said, but your spirit and science had to that synthesis. So you get, so he said it right. Knowledge or science without guidance is ineffective and can even be an abomination.
Destructive.
Can be destructive.
Yes.
And of course, spirit without knowledge is really just superstition.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
So when you put them together though, you get power.
Yes.
And that is what our media doesn't quite have. They've got the medium, they've got a certain amount of knowledge, but what is lacking, I think, is that higher consciousness that you were talking about. You want to instill in your students, Jerry. That higher consciousness which says, you know something, we're about something much bigger than just selling a station today and some ads today.
That's right.
And that has not, or we have lost that particular sentiment, that feeling, and we need to regain it.
Yes.
And this time regain it in a very strategic and sustainable way. And that's our challenge. Yes. And that's why the Rise Film Festival, the journalism program, the after-school journalism program, that's what we are trying to get value.
Okay.
It's not big enough as far as I'm concerned. It's not reaching enough. It's just really a little pilot, fledgling type program.
Right.
But it must get bigger.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
It has to start somewhere. And so this year, how many people entered the film festival?
We had 18 people indicated interest.
Okay.
11 people actually delivered.
All right.
And they were excellent.
Great.
They were excellent.
Great.
So I'm actually going to go on a road show to show the country what the young people had done.
Wonderful.
I mean, we had some great stuff, exposing some of the, it's art.
Yes.
So, but showing real life issues up there. It was
yes.
really good.
And so for people who are interested in the film festival for next year, where do they need to go?
Again, come on our website, indicate your interest. We will link you to Colin, because Colin's right there on our website anyway. Right. So if you come on the Rise St. Lucia website, you can link up to the film festival. You can see what we've done.
All right.
Some of the videos are up there.
All right.
Right. And you, of course, you can indicate your interest.
All right. Tell the people the website again.
www.risestlucia.com.
All right. So as I told you from the beginning, I am standing in between two great men with just a passion and a heart for St. Lucia, but also for people overall and for youth overall, and making positive changes in the world.
Oh yeah.
In the world. So what are some closing comments or words of inspiration that you'd like to give the world right now?
Wow, that's a challenge.
I'm saying.
That's a challenge. I think that, back to our very mission, I would like to see a people living with the consciousness, with full knowledge and full hunger for knowledge, but with that spiritual connection and that appreciation for their place in history and on this planet at this point in time.
Yes.
If we could, as a first of an African people, and secondly as just a human race, get to that point. I mean, you can see it. To me, would there be violence? No. Would there be war? No. Would there be hunger? No. And if only each and every one of us could just get to that place, then I would die a happy man.
I love it. I love it. Jer, how about you?
Well, in my job at Monroe College here in St. Lucia, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of students all over St. Lucia. And I tell them, do not allow anybody to steal your dreams from you, no matter what it is. And I say to them also that every one of us can make a contribution. No matter how small it may be, it is not necessarily insignificant.
That's right.
And I think that adults now, you need to provide the environment for not nurturing, but for kids and young people particularly, and for adults too, to reach into themselves to find that irreducible kernel that makes them who they are as an individual,
Yes.
and from there they can decide the contribution they wish to make for humankind.
That's right.
And as I say, it doesn't have to be something big and huge in terms of building monuments, etc. It can just be, for example, holding children's hands across the street every single day
Yes.
and provide that kind of safety for them.
That's right.
This is what you were put on this earth to do, and if we can allow these children to find that and do that, then I think we can have a much bigger, better place for us to live.
I often tell people to aspire to what their biggest dreams, if they consider it the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because if you aspire to that, one day that ceiling will become your floor, where you can aspire to greater heights.
Exactly.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you.
this time with us, and we will see you again soon.
Hope
Yes.
so.
All right.
Well, it's your home now.
Yeah.
So, you know.
All right. As he said, welcome home. All right.
So we see the two of you.
Yes, we'll be back shortly on Dr. Walls and Friends.